Columbo, what's your point?
My point is this. If the maid forgot to clean up the room, then why didn't we find little bits and pieces of paper somewhere?
Standard? Bog standard. All my friends are dead and they don't like me anymore. They've moved along, they've changed, and now they find me quite a bore. Way back then it was okay to be a little weird, but all my friends are dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am internet personality Milk Content, and this is another episode of 10Minute Daily Videos.net, your one-stop shop for 10-minute daily videos.net. Okay, what's on the old docket today? Well, if you saw my last video some time ago, I did a video on a joke I like from the Pirates of Penzance. Now I'm doing some foreshadowing I like. I find foreshadowing and jokes have some things in common. The setup is very important, right? The payoff, equally important. So this is from the recent incredible animated series on Netflix called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is one of my favorite shows of all time. Certainly one of my favorite animated shows of all time. I really loved the original movie. I loved the comic book. The foreshadowing this is basically everything you can expect from the entire, like, the bulk of the series. And it comes from a scene that we're all very familiar with. It's in the trailer of the original movie. It's like, it is as iconic of a scene from that as Scott with the sword. And that scene is where they're at the party and they're talking together for the first time. They chose that moment to put in this amazing piece of foreshadowing. I will now play the foreshadowing so that we can discuss it afterwards. Here we go.
You know Sonic the Hedgehog? You probably know this, but in the early 90s, there were two different Sonic cartoons airing at the same time. One was dark and dramatic, the other was a hilarious comedy about chili dogs. And the same guy played Sonic in both shows. Isn't that wild? The same guy playing two different versions of the same guy? Maybe you didn't watch cartoons, or you're not into chili dogs.
They're okay. I mostly watched older stuff when I was a kid. You know, Columbo reruns.
Reruns, cool. Got it.
It's so beautiful. It's so pretty. I can't believe how pretty it is. Every time I rewatch it, I'm gobsmacked by how amazing it looks. The reason the foreshadowing is so fun is because Scott talks about the surface level thing by making an analogy to Sonic the Hedgehog having two shows where the main character is two different versions of the same guy, but he's played by the same actor. It's just nakedly and bluntly, in a very Scott Pilgrim way. It's almost as if Scott Pilgrim, the character, wrote his own foreshadowing. Meanwhile, Ramona's response, perfectly written, is very short and mysterious, but sets up her arc of the entire series by saying that she likes episodes of Columbo. Why would I want to start talking about Columbo all of a sudden? So there you have it. That's my first episode on a favorite piece of foreshadowing. We should make it clear that first pick is not necessarily best pick. It's something that came to me. It came to my mind. For some reason, I wanted to mention Columbo a few times. I wanted to say the word Columbo for reasons that might matter in the future. But would I call it foreshadowing? Or would I call it lazy foreshadowing? Or is it just a plug? Oh, who knows? Columbo might. Columbo knows everything. Thanks for watching. I've been your host. If you can help, there's a Patreon in this. It doesn't need that much money to function. Legit. Make this hobby my job. I dare you. Make it my job this time. I dare you. Make me hate this. Make me Matt Pat.